I think there's a balance to be found between craftsmanship and refining a process or technique and becoming a master of something versus being flexible and intuitive and expressive. And I think that, the craft can sometimes be, I should say that I think on either side you can go too far to one side or the other. You can be too far on the side of being overly intuitive and too far over on the side of being like rigidly locked into a specific technique or process. And so for me, I think the balance is like to find like half of what I'm doing. My goal is to have half of my process be very well practiced and rehearsed. I used to be a musician, and I know what it's like to rehearse, so that when you play the actual show, you'll at that point, you're ready to just perform and be expressive. But you've practiced and rehearsed so much that you can basically forget about like the instrument that you're playing, or if you're singing, like the words that you're singing, those so deeply. There's a term that's like actually a Martian term that was adopted into English from a sci-fi book of grokking. To grok something is something that you've learned. Grokking is like learning something to the point that it's fully intuitive and it's second nature. And so for me, I want half of what I'm doing to be grokked, and then the other half I can be flexible and expressive and open to unexpectedness, or like connecting to my own intuitions or thoughts and making sure that I'm actually conveying those intuitions or thoughts. But I think that you can be too rigid on the side of being focused on technique, where some people are more classical in their painting, and some people, it's almost like they're just following a recipe of how to paint a nice painting. And it can feel rather lifeless and impersonal, and it can feel like the artist is just basically expressing, the precursors of like maybe some masters of the past that they're just emulating. And so ideally, as an artist, you're going into your own new territory, and you're discovering things or bringing new things to the table. But as far as on the other side of being like totally flexible and intuitive, not having any kind of mastery, or like you got to ask yourself, what have I refined? Have I refined anything? Or is it all just like goofing around? And so I'm striving to find like 50% is refined and practiced and rehearsed, and 50% is flexible, open to where my thoughts might go, or things like in the circumstance of being out here in public, maybe I'm open to people that come by and talk to me, and the ideas that they have, maybe they affect my thoughts, and maybe I shift my direction in some capacity, especially with this series that I'm doing. I want to bring something to the table. Like half of what I do is like what I'm bringing to the table of something refined and practiced, and half is something more on the fly, improvisational, intuitive.